Happy New Year, everybody. It's a cool day here in Colorado in the winter, January 2015. So I figured it'd be a good day to go through my kind of core backpacking gear for a two-nighter, or really could be up to a week or so. This just has the basics that I always bring. It excludes food, clothes, and water, but my clothes really fluctuates depending on the season, but it's always based on a layering system. What I can tell you is that I always take a couple pairs of socks, one to sleep in for sure, and then one to hike in, long underwear, top and bottom. For the top, I always bring probably a mid-weight fleece, synthetic shirt, t-shirt, and then a shell rain jacket, usually a Gore-Tex version. And actually the one I have right now is by Mountain Hardwear. It's great, real thin. And then for the bottom half, it's either a pair of shorts, or long pants, some kind of synthetic, maybe soft shell if it's cold. I haven't really been able to get into the half zips, so I usually hike in shorts, and if it's cold I'll put on my long underwear underneath those. And usually I try to build a fire or go camping where I can, so if it's nighttime, the long underwear plus the shorts usually keep me warm well into the late summer. And then food, it really depends on how far I'm going. And water, I always take an extra one of those little compressible platypus bags, throw it in there, and then either an Nalgene, sometimes I'll bring a Camelback. It really just depends, but I always have a water filter, and typically out here in Colorado you can find streams, and I will have a water purifier. So this is just the core. This is what I brought on my last hiking trip, absent a few additions and upgrades. So the big three over here, this is my Black Diamond Element 60 pack. I had a 45 smaller pack by Mountain Smith, but I just like having a little extra room. This is 3 pounds and a couple ounces, and it is great. I love it. It fits everything I need and super comfortable up to probably about a load of 35 pounds. But again, all this stuff here probably is about a base weight of 12 to 15, and that's great for me. To the right of that, in the red and gray, is my Montbell Super Spiral Ultralight Down Hugger Bag number 1, and I've had this for a couple years now and no regrets there. Super comfortable. It is warm. If I need a little extra warmth, I will throw on my long underwear and a pair of socks, and that's great. Down here is my MSR Hubba Hubba tent, 2-person, and I break it into 4 separate pieces, which helps me pack it into the pack. I don't really like to have a lot of things hanging off my pack. I like it to be pretty clean, so this helps me kind of fit the different pieces in the nooks and crannies. The 2 orange here are the tent body and the fly. To the right of that are the stakes, and in the bottom, in a separate stuff sack with mesh, is the ground sheet, stakes, and some tie-out cords. And this tent is great because you can set up the fly with the ground sheet without the tent in a pinch, or if you just need to set up to get out of the rain for a while. And that's why I like having them separate, because I can just grab the ground sheet, tie-outs, and stakes and the fly and set it up, and then I don't have to get anything else wet, or I can stuff it back in. In the green is my REI Flash sleeping pad. This is a recent upgrade, but I'm excited about it. It's got a 3.2 R value, it weighs a pound, and I think it's going to be great. I haven't used it yet, but I'll keep you posted. However, it is inflatable, and it doesn't seem like the most durable, so I'm going to be very careful with it. You know, it was about $100. So what I do, and what I think I'm going to do, is bring this Z-Lite pad, which I've cut down to about 4 little rectangular pieces. They're all connected, but I've cut the whole pad down, and I'll probably use that to sit on by the fire, use it as a sit pad for lunch, things like that. And I bring a trekking pole, usually just one. I don't find myself usually needing to or wanting to. Here in the white is my bear bag hanging kit. It just involves a Tyvek bag that I made, some reflective cord, good long, probably 50 feet worth, and a tiny carabiner. And I use that to hang my food bag, which will be in a separate waterproof stuff sack. And that's worked really well, and I'll show you guys how I hang mine if I get comments to do so. Always bring a trash bag, stuff it in the bottom of the pack. I can either line my bag with it if it's raining, or you never know what you could use it for. You can make a poncho out of it, pretty much anything you'd need. This is my cook kit, and I'll come back to that. I always bring a Petzl headlamp, a pack towel here. This is the MSR ultralight version. It's real thin, it weighs nothing. I keep it in that little stuff sack it came in because I can clip it to the outside of my pack if it gets wet. You can dry off your tent with it, yourself with it. You want to take a dip in the river or something. And it doesn't weigh anything, so I throw it in there. Bring a little knife. This is a Benchmade. It's got a little piece of reflective tie I made on there so I can find it with my headlamp at night, and it's great. I have a lot of knives, but generally I just bring this one, and it's been good. Bring my fire starting kit. This is probably a little excessive, but it's, I don't know, I like to play around, try different methods when I'm out there. So this one has a lighter. It's in this red pill bottle. I have cotton balls soaked in Vaseline. I've got a flint striker. I've got in another waterproof pill case, I have matches with a striker pad ripped off the box, and then just some cheap matches, paper matches. And I keep that in its own little stuff sack in a plastic bag. I don't know why, but I do. Journal with attached pen. It's a Write in the Rain version. I always attach the pen to it because I always lose it. To the right of this is kind of cool. It's my saw. It's really light. All it is one of the Sawzall blades here in a sheath that I made. And I made the handle out of some paracord, and I wrapped duct tape around the teeth. And it's great. It helps you process wood. I mean, I can get a good notch out of a thicker stick that I can't break, and then it'll easily snap. So it doesn't weigh anything, and I just slip it in my pack. Then my phone I use for videos and photos on the trail. This is my MSR Hyperflow filter, and I also have a Myox and water tabs, but this has been the easiest, and it pumps it fast. I always do have to remind myself how to back flush it though before I go. Maybe quick refresher of the instructions if I haven't done it for a while, because sometimes putting it back together out there, if you would need to, you know, just make sure you know what you're doing with it when you're back flushing it, as there's some small parts that you got to get in the right order. Always bring a sun hat and gloves and a small hat. No matter when I'm hiking, I bring my gloves and a hat. You never know what you're going to find, and sometimes it gets a little chilly and it's nice to throw those on. This is my night bag, and I always have sunscreen, toothbrush, floss, Advil, what's it called? Stuff for your lips, eye drops, toothpaste, and that's just my basics. Keep that usually in the lid of my pack. Then my toiletry kit, I've got toilet paper with the center roll moved out so you can squish it, hand sanitizer, and some wet wipes. And I usually use those wet wipes at night, wash my face, move down south, and it feels great. Then I'm also a wilderness first responder, so I probably have extra first aid gear, but ever since that class I tend to take more, just in case I encounter something on the trail. So this is my kit. It's pretty heavy. I took this Adventure Metal Kit's Ultralight and totally revamped it, added to it, removed things. I put in my little book. It's got a ton of stuff in here, more than you would need any one person probably on an overnight or two night trip. But I bring it because if I find somebody that's hurt or in need, I'd like to be able to help them out. These are just 2 cloth cravats with clips. These are super light. You can make tourniquets, you can make slings out of them, tons of uses. This is just my survival kit. Sometimes I don't bring it, sometimes I do. It's got duct tape, and I've added to this earplugs, fishing kit, reflective mirror, whistle, space blanket, another lighter, water tabs, and then it's got some extra band-aids, things like that. Then just a bandana, and I also bring a SAM splint here, and that's essentially from my woofer training. I bring that. So I think I covered everything. Oh yeah, my cook kit. Let's see. I've got a bit of an obsession with the stoves. Made some alcohol stoves on my own, but really kind of not worth it for me. So I use a canister stove. I typically bring, what is this, a 3.5 ounce one, because it fits in my 750 milliliter pot. Soap, canister. This is my Soto micro regulator stove here, and it's been great. Super light, works well in the wind, seems to be very efficient. I would always bring a lighter though. The starter sometimes doesn't catch, so I always bring a lighter in case I need to start that, which is in my kit right here. Lighter, another kitchen towel. I cut this one in half. It's an old one, a little bit thicker. It's maybe 1 foot by 10 inches or so, and that stuffs in the pot as well. And a little sponge that I cut in half. It's got a little scrubber, sponge, helps me clean it out. This is the wind screen for the Soto. And this is my Toke's 750 milliliter pot. I can usually boil enough water for a dehydrated meal and enough for a tea. And I'll fill this up, boil it, pour it into the dehydrated, and then that leaves me some to drink tea out of. And let's see, this is the lid to it, and this is a neoprene sleeve that I got from a GSI kit, but it actually fits over the titanium pot that I have, and it keeps your food warm. Yeah, I forgot to add this too. This is my titanium spoon. Let's see, Optimus titanium. It's got a smooth, I don't know, mouthpiece, I guess, and it's awesome. It's long, and you can mix your dehydrated meals with it. No spork. Sometimes I bring a spork, but it depends on what I'm doing. I can spread with this, pretty much eat anything with this, and it weighs nothing. It's got a little clip, and I just throw that in my pack. So that is it for the basics. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.